Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. This is the Inspiration Show. This is our second version of our live inspiration shows. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Susan Hall. She is the author of a new book called Ha! I Laugh in the Face of Cancer. She has an exceptionally inspiring story of how she overcome cancer. It's actually a very personal story as well because her brother also got cancer at the same time. So I'll let her tell the story. So Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Natalie.
So tell me, so let's start with your story first and how you got to writing this book.
Yes. Well, I was diagnosed with cancer in April of 2012, and my brother, Dr. Jerry Buss, the late Dr. Jerry Buss, owner of the Los Angeles Lakers basketball team, right where you are in the Marina area, he also was diagnosed with cancer. So we had the brother and his sister both receiving the dire words, "You've got cancer," very similar, almost to the day. So it was an interesting moment because Jerry decided to do conventional medicine. He did surgery and chemo and radiation, and he fully expected I would follow and do that also. It was recommended that I have a mastectomy, also chemo, radiation. I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. Our mother had also died of cancer, and she had done the chemo and everything. And so I just realized for me, I would go a different route. But I didn't know what route to take, and that was what was interesting. So for your listeners, I sat down and I just asked my God, what would you have me do to save my own life? And the answer was instant. It was amazing. I simply stood up from where I was, walked to my office, went over to a file cabinet, opened it up, and under C, I saw a cancer file. So I took it out and realized that I had put that there maybe 15 or 20 years ago, and I'd forgotten all about it. I was looking for natural ways to cure cancer after my mother died, after our mother died. But when I opened it up, I saw the Two Feathers Healing Formula. And there was a website, there was a phone number, and it showed a picture of a man, had a little hole in his chest, who claimed that he had 9 tumors that he took out of his chest. He had lung cancer. And those tumors were in a picture next to him. And I looked at that, and I thought, oh, I wonder, this is very strange. I don't know what to say. But then I remembered, my goodness, this was answer to my prayer. So I phoned that phone number, and after all those years, Robert Roy, he answered the phone. I told him I had breast cancer, and I ordered a bottle of the Two Feathers Healing Formula in that moment. I received instructions on how to use it, and I got it the next day, and I began using the Two Feathers Healing Formula as my protocol for cancer.
Right. So when you say the two feathers healing formula, is this a whole protocol? I know you say it's a natural therapy, but what really was involved with this?
Well, it was very, very simple. It's a jar that has a natural herbal remedy inside, and I was instructed to put a little bit of that material into capsules and take that internally. It was suggested that I take it 3 times a day, but I ended up taking it twice a day. It made me nauseous. Mm-hmm. It's a very powerful detoxer. It's an American Indian medicine man, medicine woman remedy. It's an herbal remedy, non-toxic. So I found that it was making me nauseous, so I used my Young Living essential oil of peppermint to help me with that, and that was very helpful indeed. So I was learning how to work with the formula so that I could tolerate it very well. It didn't make me so sick that I couldn't work. Nothing like that. It was just being a little bit nauseous. So that's how I got started, and within 14 days of taking it, one of the 2 tumors that had been, I'd had biopsied that I knew were cancerous, they were hard like marbles. One of those 2 tumors on my breast collapsed. I woke up on the 14th day. It was gone. I didn't know where it was, but it was gone. 3 days later, the second one also collapsed, and it was gone. So when I contacted with Robert Roy, he instructed me, or suggested, shall I say, that I put a little bit of the herbal formula on the tumor site so that we could then draw the tumors out. And that was when the magic really started to happen, Natalie, because within 2 weeks of that time, I pulled out, or the Two Feathers formula pulled out, the first tumor. and it was an amazing experience.
Wow. And pulled out what, through your skin?
Yeah, right where I put that formula, it opened up a wound. It opened up a wound within a couple of days, and I could see the tumor under it. And I believe that tumors are fungus. It looked like a fungus. It was a gray-white color. It was big, and it hurt. And it hurt a lot, but not as much as chemo or a mastectomy might have hurt. So I was real grateful, and I knew that something extraordinary was happening. It was so astounding. I mean, you could call it a miracle because it was a miracle, and there's just no doubt about it. So after that, every 2 weeks, almost like clockwork, another tumor would pop out. I had no idea how many tumors there were, but Mayo Clinic, a very prestigious place here, you've heard of it, they said I had 2 tumors, and 2 cancerous tumors. So please tell me then, why were there 18 tumors that were eventually pulled out of my body? And after the 18th one came out, my wound simply closed up. I never had an infection. It was not a comfortable situation. It lasted for about 5 months. But at the same time, I was taking an AMAS blood test to determine how bad the cancer was. And instead of the PET scan, which the Mayo Clinic said they will not use PET scans to determine cancer because it causes cancer. That's what they told me, and that is what I believe. So the AMAS blood test was the way that I determined if I had cancer, and now I use it to determine that I do not have cancer, and I haven't had cancer for way over a year.
Wow. Congratulations. Now, guys, this is a live show, which means that we are open for you to ask questions. So make sure that if you do have any questions as we go along in the interview, please ask them so that we can answer them as we go along as well. So we're talking about a specific, natural remedy, which is fantastic. But was there any kind of mindset things that you actually did as well to be able to help you along your journey?
Yes, absolutely. That was the first step, but it was only the first step. The other thing was the recognition that I had to do my part. I had to do the nutrition. I had to do the exercise. I had to do the positive thinking. And all of the work that goes along with being well and overcoming dis-ease. So that was very important, and prayer was an extremely important part of my regimen because prayer had given me the miracle. I was looking to prayer to help me all the way, and of course it did. And so in overcoming it, I was well enough to continue doing everything else that was necessary. So I want to make sure that your listeners know that I am available to talk to them. I have a website and an email address. I'm very interested to assist anyone who might have an interest to go the way that I have gone if they choose to do so.
Yeah. No, I love that. When we were talking before the show started about how someone like yourself has more empathy than, say, most medical practitioners in knowing exactly what people are going through. So how many people have you worked with now?
Well, the book just came out about 2 months ago. My book, I Laugh in the Face of Cancer, and it's my protocol, what I did, so that it could be duplicated by anyone else who was interested to follow this particular way of healing. So it was just an amazing thing that people began to call me. I don't even know how some of them reached me. I have a website. Somebody told someone else. I've done a couple of radio shows, and I began to get people calling me, asking me, emailing me. And so I have been able to help many people. This is just the beginning. I'm looking forward to really opening up to all the world because the book is also written in Japanese and in German. So my interest is to make this available to the entire world for anyone who is looking for that alternative way. And one of the most amazing people that I'm working with right now had done the chemotherapy, had done the surgery, had done the radiation, and of course her immune system was destroyed and she still had the cancer. So I got this particular person referred to me after she'd been sent home to die because there was nothing more that could be done for her. And we have been working together for the last 4 months. She is alive. Her situation is a lot more difficult than mine because I never did those things that destroyed my immune system, but the good news is she's still alive, and how grateful I am for that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So if people do want to work with you, Susan, do they come and see you personally?
No, the best way, it's so wonderful, is to reach me through my website. It is howilaughinathefaceofcancer.com. And there's an email there also. And there's information to reach Robert Roy and the Two Feathers Healing Formula and his website, because then they can see the same pictures that I saw, the same explanations that I saw when my God sent me to that Two Feathers Healing Formula. So may I give that also to your listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it is www.healingformula.net. And I'm speaking about Robert Roy, the amazing man that was so responsible for helping to save my life. And he is available always and helps every single person, and has done so the last 34 years.
Wow. That's fantastic. Now, Susan, I know that you've come through this, and now you're helping people to be able to heal themselves. But what's some of the biggest lessons that you think you learned from this whole experience?
The biggest lesson, without any doubt, is that I would hope that no one gives over the power of decision for their life to someone else. And I'm speaking now of a medical doctor or a medical institution. I hope that your listeners would really take back their own power, really think, really look, really study, really make that effort through prayer, through to instigate and to look for it and to investigate and to find out what is really happening. Because when I started working with people, they would say, well, I can't do that. My doctor would never allow me to do that. That's true. When I told my doctor that I was going to do the Two Feathers Healing Formula instead of the mastectomy, I was told, and with extreme prejudice, never ever come back here again. And he meant it. Oh yes, he meant it. And I went, when I had my biopsy and I had my my ultrasound and my mammogram, the radiologist also told me in a very loud voice, a very red face, and a very strong finger pointing in my face, that he said, "You're dying of cancer, and don't ever come back here again. You're not welcome here." I filed a complaint against him with the medical review board, who said that he was correct.
Wow. That is insane. Now, the good thing about, well, the thing I love about your story as well is, and what you just said, you don't relinquish responsibility to anyone else. And you're referring to doctors, but I know that even though you were praying to God and you were looking for an answer, you still realized that it wasn't, you still had to take responsibility yourself. It wasn't like you were going to ask the question and something miraculous would happen. You still had to be proactive in being able to take over your whole healing process as well.
Absolutely. It's part of ask and you shall receive. I mean, you have to do the work yourself. There's just no doubt about it. Some people come to me and say, oh, I can't do that. It's not covered by insurance. It's true, they can't do this. It cost me $150 per month. So it wasn't covered by insurance. And then the AMASK blood test, which is a very important tool, because my interest is to show people how they can go through this process without fear. And the only way that can happen, Natalie, is if they know, yes, I have cancer and it's going down because I have my AMASK blood test every 2 or 3 months. I can see that I went from a certain number that was cancerous to down to the normal range. And by the way, for your listeners and for my great joy and gratitude, I just had my last AMASK blood test done. I got my results just yesterday. My results are so low, they've never seen it before in their history. It's 0. No one has ever done that. So my doctor, my beautiful doctor, homeopathic medical doctor, very well known, Dr. Stanley Olstein, is calling the head oncologist to talk about it, because they've never, ever, ever seen anybody with a 0. But that's what I have, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. And I think too, what you also touched on there is how you expected this to heal. And I think you bring up a very important point about having that regular testing.
Yes.
For me, if you're working towards something, you need to measure that you're moving forward and celebrate the little wins along the way, because all that does is build your belief that you are on the right track and that you are doing the right thing and that you are getting the results that you're looking for. Well,
that's extremely important, because fear is the enemy here. I mean, being afraid and the stress, cancer is all about fear. And if we can say, I laugh in the face of cancer and mean it, because not only are we sure of it, but we have medical tests to prove it. You know, some people who do not believe that I can be healed. Why? Because it was too easy, it was too effective, it was too cheap. They can't believe that it's true. So you know what I say to those people, Natalie? I say, proof of life. Do you need proof of life? Well, here I am.
Yeah, and also the people that you've been working with as well. So Susan, thank you so much for joining me today. The information that you've shared, I think, is very important, and I think that it really does offer a proven way for people to look at other alternatives rather than having to go down the whole, you know, chemotherapy and medical practitioner. So thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so grateful. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, and blessings to all your listeners.
Great. Now, guys, I encourage you to share this video. If you have anyone in your life that you know of that is suffering right now with cancer, that you share this video with them. You can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page. Make sure that you download the Inspiration Show app if you haven't done so already, because you can now watch the shows on the go. You don't actually have to be in front of your computer, except when you're watching these live shows, of course. And then also make sure that you leave your email in the box to receive the Manifesting with the Masters video e-course. It's actually valued at $87, and I'd love to send it to you for free. So thanks again for joining me on my second ever live Google Hangout for the Inspiration Show. And remember, till next time, live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.